We do
All
the
right.
podcast.
Hello, everyone. We are here for our season 5 postseason wrap up on the Villainviver podcast. I'm Elk, one of our hosts here today, and alongside me we have
Gabriel.
Zero.
All right, and today the three of us will be interviewing two of our players from season 5. So first up here we have Tara, who was our second place finisher on the season. Tara, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, I'm Tara, first runner-up of season 5. And I'm so excited.
And as well as Tara, we have Roman, who was the 5th place finisher on season 5. Roman, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Roman. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. What the hell, J-Ro?
You're
welcome.
Sorry. Yes. Thank you for being here too. Yes.
All right, Gabriel, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Honestly, I know I should have prepared. Some shit. Tell us about your working relationship in the game. How did you two work together?
So, me and Roman first met and scared of me. Jade told me she was scared of me. So you
It's a
know.
little
Is that true, Roman? Were you?
yeah, I was a little intimidated of Kara because she kept sending like things of making fun of old people, and then Jade told me that she was making fun of Nay. So I was like, I don't want to be made fun of.
Oh.
I was making fun of Iris, first of all, and yeah, so that kind of put us off because I thought she was scared of me. So I was like, oh, I don't want to scare her now. And
Yeah.
then Merge came and we kind of were on different sides. And it was like a bit messy, but we actually kind of came together, like final 6, final 5, whatever. And we're like, let's work together, get Jade out. It didn't work. And then I voted her out.
All right. What about things from your perspective, Roman?
I think it would have been better if you flipped earlier.
Yeah, it would have. Final 7. Should have done that.
It kind of just felt like you didn't want to talk game with me at all. And like I tried, but it was just really dry. And like I'm saying, like I was dry too.
Yeah. It was kind of hard for us to talk just because it was, I don't know, because we weren't on the same side working together, and I also thought she was like after me.
Like you in particular or your side?
Well, kind of both. I thought she was scared of me. So I was like, uh-oh, what if she wants me out or whatever? But I felt like she would go for Jade before me. And eventually we did kind of like start talking and stuff, you know? Plus after final season, I should have flipped. So that kind of made me like her more.
In that answer, I heard some mention about the part about meeting first in the Safari because you started on opposite tribes of each other, which leads me into how do you think the twist for how the tribes were divided in this season based on age, how do you think that ended up affecting the way the season went for both of you?
To be honest, I don't think it really affected that much. I think because the tribe division wasn't just like tribes, it was based on something like age, there was kind of like a natural divide formed just based on like who we're friends with and stuff. But I think because we were with our original tribes for such a short amount of time, I mean, there were 2 swaps. There was the first vote, and then there was the double vote where we were basically like merged. We were basically never with our original tribe. And I do think there was kind of like this young old divide, but I do think the second merge happened, it all like mushed up.
I think it was harder for me because I didn't really get along with the kids as much as I did with the adults. And like there was a lot of adults that I just clicked instantly with. And then when I met the kids, they were like so dry. And like the adults were quiet and I was expecting the kids to be like really loud. But like once you tried to get one on one with them, they weren't that loud.
And I don't even know if that was just the young tribe. Like, I don't think that was even them just being young. I think they were just quiet in general. Because I remember at the start of the game, people were telling me, like, Tara, you're being a bit too social right now. People are seeing you as a threat. And I'm like, I'm just talking.
Yeah.
I
And then
did
like
notice
you,
that from Specking.
yeah. Like Regan got in trouble for being too social.
I do
So-
have to say, oh, sorry, J-Ro, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you think that was like a prevailing theme throughout the season? Like the people who were just kind of more talkative were just ended up being targeted more? Because that's sort of unusual to me.
That's unusual to you?
Yeah, like I feel like that's a little unusual. I feel like everyone kind of like the idea is the people who, in my experience, the people who don't talk usually get targeted. So it was the opposite. Would you guys say?
Mm.
I don't know if I
Actually,
was
I
like,
targeted
targeted
them,
right away.
sorry.
I don't think I was like targeted right away, but people did come up to me, like Jade and stuff were saying like, "Oh, some people have mentioned how they think you're really like talkative or you're like a threat," and I'm just like, "What?"
Interesting.
I focused on getting rid of the less talkative ones. Like I like the talkative ones.
Yeah.
I
Good,
have to
thank you.
say that, oh, not again.
My bad. Go ahead, Gabriel.
No, I was just gonna make a comment that I think that this cast is one of our more or most active casts. So that's just something that I found interesting. What were you gonna say, J-Ro?
No, I was. Yeah, I was gonna say. So Roman says that she went after the less talkative people, but on the youngs, it seems that Tara was targeted for being talkative. So I wonder. It's interesting how the two tribes sort of function kind of differently there. Did that carry over for like the rest of the season, or was that just sort of really early on?
For me, at least, I think that was really early on. I don't think I would have gone home at all if the young tribe lost that first immunity. I just think people were a little wary of me just because I was way more talkative than the average person, like on the young tribe. So I don't know. It was kind of weird though.
That actually makes me want to talk about something. I don't know why I just phrased that like that. Tara, so you went from being a major threat to laying low to kind of being a threat again. And then Roman, you went from not being a threat to suddenly being a threat. And I just find that really actually wait, Tara, you weren't really a threat at the end because Jade was always there and Jade was your shield. So you guys kind of had reverse games in a way. And I just find that so interesting. So I guess my question is if you could each like briefly talk about your games and how you approached things.
Yeah, I can go first. So I think my game was like very much like pretty much purely a social game. I like completely focused on just getting people to like me. And I guess it worked out because I did pretty good in the trust rankings, okay? But for me at least, I was trying to go at it really strong at the start because I figured other people would be doing the same, you know? But when I realized that I was kind of standing out as a bit of a threat early on, I realized I needed to kind of dial it down. So I definitely tried to be less like out there and I wanted to use Jade as kind of like a shield to get me further. So I think I tried to always stay in the middle. I wanted to have like a really fluid game where I could do whatever I want basically. And I do think I was successful in staying in the middle and like making it far. I was never really the number one threat on anyone's mind, but I was never at the bottom. But I think the issue with my game is that I just didn't take out Jade when I needed to, because I kind of wanted to keep her for like another round and then take her out because I was scared I would be taken out before the end if I got her out 7. So I think that was mostly my game.
Hmm. So,
I think. Oh,
go ahead, Roman.
sorry.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
For me, I think I was really well liked on the adult tribe, and then that first swap came, and like when I was put on the tribe with Tara and Regina and Mally, like I kind of noticed that I wasn't really gonna thrive there, and then I just managed to win with them for a while, and then got back to a position of power, and like there, I was kind of comfortable again, and then I guess people realized that like I was controlling on that tribe, I guess, and then merge happened, and there was the fights and everything, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Roman's a threat."
Interesting. I just had a similarity between you two, and I completely forgot it. My gosh. But I did have a question. If we're looking at things in terms of heroes and villains, Tara definitely played more of a villainous game, while Roman, you definitely played more of a hero game. And what I mean by that is Tara didn't really have any loyalties. She had goats. We know that's clear. She was not afraid to tell people that she had goats. She didn't have friends. Wait, that came out wrong. That came out wrong.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I had no friends.
That's not what I meant.
I had no
Like,
friends. No one liked me. I was hated.
no, I meant like you didn't come into the game necessarily to make friends. Like you came in to win. And Roman, you like were very like fiercely loyal. Like as we saw with Nay and with like Iris, when she was still in the game and before like everything that happened. So those are just like two really interesting approaches. And so I guess my question is like, what does loyalty mean in the game of Survivor to each of you?
To me, I think loyalty is a temporary thing. I was loyal to Jade because both me and Jade benefited from our loyalty to one another. But I don't think I was ever loyal out of friendship. I was never loyal where I'm like, I'm going to take you to the end because I really like you. I knew going into the season I wanted to do whatever it took to win. Clearly, didn't work out, but I really wanted to, like, I had no intention on being loyal to people because I liked them. I really wanted to do what was the best thing to get to the end. So to me, I guess loyalty is just like you need to work with other people to get far, but to me, loyalty is always temporary.
I think for me, it's like you're not really guaranteed a chance of winning, but you're guaranteed a chance of making relationships. So I just kind of thought, why don't I just make relationships that I like, and like I wouldn't mind going out for these people if it meant that I could vote for them in the end. So I was fine being loyal to Nay. And then for Iris, I was actually gonna flip on Iris during one of the votes and vote
Right.
her out. Because I felt at that point that Iris was more loyal to Mally and Jade, but that kind of screwed her over, and then she got removed from the game.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something that Tara said there in that answer and in the previous answer a little bit as well, which is the balance between someone who you have loyalty to and who you see as a shield, and how far you can take them in the game versus at what point you need to get rid of them. So if like advantages and immunity wins had not stopped you from doing so, when do you think the ideal time to get rid of Jade would have been? Would it have been like at Final 6, Final 5? Or did you want to take Jade all the way to Final 4 to have that shield all the way to the last vote? Like, where was your head at in terms of the timing of that move?
To me, I think just getting her out in general would be great, but I do think I wanted her out at 5 just because then Nay would be out already. Because if I got her out at 6, I don't think Natalie would want to work with me anymore. I don't think he would trust me. But I just think 6, 5, or 4 would have been fine for me. I just didn't think 7 was the time just because I felt like I didn't know if I could make it to the end if I got to 6, like with Jade not there.
Can I come?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Good.
question because you would have had Regina and to go, and then you guys could have easily taken me and Nay out because me and Nay weren't winning any challenges.
Yeah, I think looking back, that is like my biggest regret, and I hate that I didn't do it. I do think I would still have had Regina and Ari. My issue is, well, I don't think Nally would have worked with you and Nay,
Yeah,
but
I think he would have just been there at that point.
yeah, my only fear was like if Nally went back like to you guys, because I don't think he would have liked me if I took out Jade. But still, I mean, I would still have that three-person alliance of me, Regina, Ari, and I do think I think I have a better shot of winning than what actually happened.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big thing I learned from this season is that I feel like whenever I play an org, I always am waiting for like the perfect time to make a move. But I really don't think there is such a thing as the perfect time. And if there is, you're not going to know it in the moment. Like I had no idea Final 7 would be the last time I would ever be able to take out Jade, you know? So I think the perfect time, you kind of have to go earlier than you think you should.
It's sort of a balance between keeping your shields and then knowing when to get rid of them because they're going to beat you, basically. So it really is kind of like a give and take, kind of like estimate kind of thing.
Yeah, that's always one of like the fundamental interesting questions about Survivor, and everyone's going to have their own position on it. Like, what is that right timing? What is the timing of the move? I heard in there we were touched a little bit on the subject of Jade and those challenge performances down the stretch, and specifically that like Jade won all 3 of our last 3 immunity challenges, as well as at Final 10 winning 4 immunities this season, which is the most individual immunities that anyone has won. But on the whole, I think that a lot of the challenges in this season, like, were very different from each other. But that leads to the question of like, did any challenges in particular stand out as favorites or least favorites to the two of you from the challenges that you did this season?
Least favorite was that GeoGuessr thing. I tried that for like 30 minutes and I was like, I'm done. I'm not winning this. I hate this. I did actually really like the gauntlet thing, the Final Four immunity, just because I feel like it tested a ton of different things. So I liked that one. But that GeoGuessr, that was hell.
To like change the word because I felt so stupid after the results. Because like I was like, oh yeah, I got it in 19 moves. I did so good, and then Gabriel almost disqualified me. But I like the night move thing. I think that was the only one I was good at.
Something interesting is even though Elk said that like a lot of the challenges were different, I felt like there was a theme of like word challenges.
Oh my god. Don't even get me started. The season where you cast the dyslexic girl, 90% of the challenges were word challenges. I was so over it.
Yeah.
I think I still won one of them, so.
The dog
I
was
won.
laughing too with me.
You won the individual immunity at that pre-merge double tribal, which I believe was a word one.
Yeah, I only won 2 immunities. I won the word one at the pre-merge double, and then I won like the social one, the touchy subjects where you smash the pots.
Question: Have you both done like regular touchy subjects before?
Yeah.
No, this was my first time ever in an org with touchy subjects.
Oh wow. Okay, so then my question is for Roman. Do you prefer this like live touchy subjects with the pots better than regular touchy subjects, or do you prefer regular touchy subjects?
So overpowered. It took me out at once because I mean I feel like there should be like a limit that like 1 pot per person can be hit because then it's just teaming up.
Okay.
One alternative that I've seen a couple times is that your pot can't be hit if you got the question right, which means that you can still be teamed up on a little bit, but it puts like a little bit of a limit on it too.
Yeah, I felt like that would have been. I got the question right, and I still went out on the first one.
Personally, I really liked it, but that might be biased because the moment I read what the comp was, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna win this."
Interesting. I personally liked it because like it's how they do the challenge in the show. So
Yeah,
that's why
I
I like
liked it too.
but it's always good to get feedback.
All right, I have a question. If you were okay, say you could like control time and fate and control every asset of the game, you can make your dream final three. Who would they each be?
For me, it would definitely be Regina and Ari. I think, yeah, I think that's what I wanted the whole time. I mean, you could put Mally in there wherever, but I think I really wanted Regina and Ari because I felt like they were the two most loyal to me, and I thought I could beat them.
Jade and Nay, like I want to finish at Final Three.
Interesting. So Roman, you would actually want to take Jade?
Yeah,
That is
Can I ask
interesting.
why?
done strong Final Threes. I went against Zap and Xorg, and I went against Hannah and Misty, and I just feel like it's more accomplishing to win. Like I didn't win; I got second both times, but like
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's where I have a very different perspective, where it's like the idea of beating the best, I don't really care that much because it's like if you vote them out, you already beat the best. So I always wanted to get to the end with people I knew I could beat because I just wanted to win. That was my whole goal coming in. I was like, I want to win. I want to do whatever it takes to win. So I wanted an easy final three for sure.
Huh.
So my next question is Roman, you obviously played from the bottom come merge, and Tara, you obviously played from the top come the entire game. So the question is, do you find it easier or do you prefer to play from the top or the bottom, and why? Whoever wants.
Well, I mean, I prefer to play usually on the top. I mean, I think I did pretty good at playing on the top but not being the most visible target. And I think it's better because you're not scared of going home at all moments. And I think I'm just really bad at playing on the bottom. I think I've played 3 orgs now, and there's only been 1 org where I ever had a moment where I was on the bottom and I did horrible at it and I got out. So, I mean, I think being on the top is better because like you're at way less risk of going home, you know?
It's I think it's better to be on the bottom. It's more fun to play at the bottom.
Roman, you're cutting in and out. Sorry, it's just hard to hear you.
Saying it's better to be like it's more fun to be at the bottom because like not everything's guaranteed, and you know that you're actually playing. Well, like I'm not saying that people at the top aren't actually playing, but like it's just easier for them. I felt like when I was at the bottom, I played a better game than I did in other seasons where I felt like I was at the top, and I was just really proud of my game this season.
Yeah, I do kind of agree that you have to work a lot harder and play a lot better from the bottom because I felt like I didn't really do much this season. I mean, I think I was in such a good position that I was like, well, I don't really need to do anything or make any big moves because I'm gonna get to the end.
Interesting. But I do have I do have a question. I want to know how you guys were like handling that first merge round where it was like the 2 tribals in a row and it ended up being pretty crazy. Can you guys kind of recount how that went?
I was really lost at first, but Jade just kept telling me stuff, and I was like, okay, thanks, Jade. So
Oh,
eventually,
okay.
eventually I knew like where the idols were and what was gonna happen with that, you know? So I was just thinking through like, okay, so Roman's gonna be idled, Ari's gonna be idled, Regina's gonna be legacied. or I don't even remember the way it went. So I knew, and I was really confused. I remember being so confused because all the young people were like, "Let's vote Roman," and I'm like, "Roman has an idol. Why are we voting Roman?" And they were like, "We got to vote Roman." And I was like, "Okay." It was so weird to me. So I actually was not locked early. I just voted nay, and I didn't want to worry about it anymore. So I just told anyone I accidentally locked my vote. Like, sorry guys, because I was just over it at that point. But I knew Jeff was going home first, just because the way the votes would turn out, I couldn't really do much about that. But I knew the second vote, me and Regina were the only people who would be voting someone who wasn't going to be idled. So I went to her and was like, "We need to vote out Toaster. Let's get Toaster." So I felt like I knew what was going to happen going into it. I just was very confused by people voting for people who we all knew had idols.
For me, I wasn't getting information from anyone like on the kids tribe, and then Iris thought it was a good idea to like tell. I don't know if she told Jade or if she told Mally because she was lying about it the entire time. But she told one of them, and like they knew our entire like voting plan, and then we didn't even switch our order. And then she only wanted to switch the order, like, but even changing the order wouldn't do anything. So I was kind of like annoyed at that vote, and then I was in between playing the idol on Nay or Toaster, but like Iris was telling me to play it on myself, so I just played it on myself, and then I went to work, and then I saw Toaster got voted out, and I was like completely blindsided about Jaff because I tried to give information to Jaff like and try to open their eyes a little bit, and none of the kids were listening to me, and like they just got voted out by Jade left and right.
Oh my god. Yeah, Jaff. I think Jaff E2 was a little blindsided. I think.
Yeah, the Jeff vote, I knew about it, and at first I was like, "Jade, what are you doing?" But then I sat back for a minute and thought about it, and I do think the Jeff vote actually really helped me out. And when I knew Jeff was going, that's when I knew Toaster has to go also, because then I would be closest to Ari, and I could bring in and make that alliance between me, Ari, and Regina, and we could be in the middle.
But
Well,
oh, go ahead.
So that brings up some interesting things, right? We have a couple of huge moments this season, with the biggest ones being, first we have the Regan vote at the Double Tribal, we have the second Double Tribal at the Merge, and then we have the huge Rock Drop Final Seven, are the three that stand out the most from this season as like the big moments of the season from a spectator perspective. But from inside the game, what felt like the biggest moment of the season, the one that okay, like this is a moment that will be like on the 30-second highlight reel of the season when it happened?
I would say those three, honestly. I mean, it was kind of like, for me, Jaff getting voted out while idling Ari for sure. After that happened, I was like, "Oh, this was a moment." Regina being rocked out was something else. I kind of like, I don't know. I think the first Double Tribal was gonna be remembered, but not really for good reasons. But yeah, besides that, none of the tribals I went to at least were that eventful. Besides those three,
Does one of those stand out above the other two?
honestly, I would say that. Hmm, the Jaff vote probably, because I mean the Rocks vote, someone's gonna get rocked out, and like Regan, I don't even know what was going on there. But the Jaff vote, something about like Jaff playing an idol for someone else and then going home because of it. It was really kind of funny. And it was also like a big move or whatever. So I think that one stood out to me.
For me, it was rocks. Like that stood out the most
Always go to Rock.
because yeah, um, that was like the only move I could make, and it actually worked out. And then like even though they had the chance to take out the biggest threat, no one did.
Yeah. Yeah. That confused me
Let's
too.
actually
It was dumb of me, I know.
let's actually dive into the rock draw a little deeper for a second. So Tara was immune at that one, but for you, Roman, like how does it feel knowing that you're about to draw a rock, and like that could be the end of the road right there. Like,
No, Roman.
were you nervous?
No, I was in the,
Roman
I
was
was
in the
tie.
tie.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So, right. Okay. But in that rock draw, like, so you were in the tie. Did you feel like you had a reasonable chance to flip someone to avoid the draw, or did you just know going in, okay, like we're 100% going to be drawing rocks here?
I was worried that Ariana wasn't actually going to work with us. But I told Regina that I was the one who had the extra vote, and then I told, I don't remember who I told, but I told a few people that I was voting Mally, just so that they would okay, like if they had anything, they would all transfer everything, and that's actually what happened. And they ended up voting for me because they thought that I was the one who had the extra vote. So I knew that Nay would be safe to play the extra vote, so that we had the possibility to go to rocks. And then a few minutes before Tribal, Ariana actually DM'd me saying to make sure that I wasn't the one holding the extra vote. So at that point, I revealed to Ariana that I wasn't the one who had the extra vote. And then I knew that we were going to force rocks because I knew that Ariana was going to stick with us.
Yeah, and I do wish I did flip. It's just I didn't know about Jade's safety without power going to 5, and I also didn't know about her second idol. So I was thinking, oh, we just vote out Roman here at 7, and then I can take out Jade 6 or 5. Like I have all the options open because I'll still have Ari and Regina. I wasn't thinking about Ari flipping at all, and looking back, I get why she did it, and I probably should have flipped too. I just was thinking.
Did you give any consideration to flipping on the revote?
I honestly, okay, I had a really busy day that day, and then I just got home and Tribal, like the original vote had already happened. So I got home, I thought Roman was already out. I opened my laptop and it's a revote, and I'm like, oh my God. So I was just like, okay, let's just vote out Roman. I thought I could convince Ari, like, let's just get Roman. And so I locked it in and stuff. And then as I started reading everything, which I probably should have done before, that was really dumb of me. I realized like, oh, I probably should have done Jade. And especially after the vote, I realized I would have been in much better position if Jade went home there, just because Regina went out.
Makes a lot of sense. Now let's think about like what happens at the moment we're about to draw rocks. Like 4 people are drawing rocks, and that's going to be Nay, Regina, Molly, and Ariana. And right out of those 4 people, just each of you, like who do you think it's best for your game if that one of the 4 draws the rock, and who do you think it's worst for your game out of the 4 who will be drawing?
For me, out of the 4, the best for my game would be Nay to go home. I viewed her as a threat, and I was like, we got to get her out eventually. And then the worst for me would easily be Regina.
Like minutes before rocks, I think I said in my CFs that I wanted Mally or Regina to go. It ended up being Regina. Like, I didn't want to risk May going.
Yeah. Tara, sorry, Roman, you kind of cut out a little bit.
Like, what part did you hear until?
Can you just repeat it? I think we kind of missed it.
I was fine with. I said in my CFs that I was fine with Mally or Regina going, and that I was indifferent about. Because just because she worked with us on that vote doesn't mean she was going to continue to work with us going forward. And then I didn't want May to go.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes a lot of
Tara, I have a question for you. If you were not immune, if you did not have immunity that round, would you have still forced the rocks? Because I feel like you would not have.
For sure, I would not have.
Yeah.
If I wasn't immune, I saw it tied in a second, I would have voted out Jade just because I would not have risked going home by rocks.
That's kind
I
of
think
it's kind of
yeah.
funny because that would have actually helped you more if you weren't immune then.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. I also wasn't thinking about who was going to be drawing rocks. I just wasn't thinking in general. I was like, I've had a long day. I just want travel to be over. Let's go. But if I realized like, oh, only one of these 4 people drawing rocks would benefit me if they went home, I should really flip.
So
If I just had like one brain cell.
in other words, you had a Malik moment.
Yeah, I was stupid.
I mean,
But
that's part of the thing
yeah.
about Survive, right? Like this is, a long season lasting a little over a month. Like you're spending that much time like day in and day out having to keep your brain in varying degrees of game mode, and like at some point the mental exhaustion adds up, like just from the game alone, let alone whatever else is going on in real life. Like of course at some point it's going to be hard to figure out like what the quote unquote optimal decision or anything is, because there's so many different little decisions along the way. How you talk to this person, like what votes you mention, what information you keep secret, what you tell. Like when you're making hundreds of micro decisions along the way, at some point the mental decision exhaustion just starts to add up.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely true.
This, speaking of, this seemed to be like an emotionally like draining season for some reason. Like, did you
Yeah.
like it looked that way from the outside looking in? Did it feel that way from inside the game?
Especially just because of everything that was going on in my life during the season, it was like this was added stress that was not great for me. Although I am really glad I played the season and it was a really fun time. It was just like, oh my God, this is so mentally taxing. So it was definitely like it was kind of rough at some points.
I feel like it got really rough for me at Merge, and then it's kind of like evened out.
Do you guys feel like um playing a larger org is like more pressure or like more taxing than playing a smaller one?
I would say it actually is kind of more pressure, but I do think it's like handled better just because like the hosting team and everything is better as a whole. So like less bad things happen. But I was so terrified going into I was terrified going into this season. Um, because I mean I was already pretty active like in the server and I knew some people were rooting for me. So I was really, really scared because I'm like, people are gonna be talking about my decisions on like a podcast and I'm gonna be like ranked, you know? I was so scared that I was gonna end the season and you guys would be on a podcast being like, Tara sucked this episode. So
Don't worry,
I was a little
you can still become host if they say that. Don't worry.
yeah, so I was it was a lot of stress just because it's like it wasn't like you just end the season and move on. You end the season and then you have to look at all the stuff they said about you. So there was a lot of stress.
Say the same thing. Like, I felt like there's a lot more pressure because it's just more well known, I guess, and there's more people watching you. And I kind of felt like I didn't expect to like win fan favorite at all, and I kind of thought like spectators were gonna hate me or something.
What? Why?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I don't really get like attention like that from spectators, but like for some reason the spectators here loved me.
I told you guys like during the reunion, I don't know who the fuck are I don't know who they are. I genuinely don't know who they are. But they listen to these podcasts and they lurk around the server and they apparently like read your confessionals because they vote for fan favorite, like people who like you're new to orgs, Roman, like Discord orgs, and you won fan favorite. So
Yeah.
like they vote based on the shit that they see. They're not just picking at random. Like, so we have like people who are invested in this server and in these games. So they're here.
I mean,
I
and
just don't
even
know
if
where.
they don't like you, it's not like the end of the world. Like you'll get it's
Yeah.
fine.
I found it kind of interesting. I don't know how many orgs Jade has played, but I did find it kind of interesting how a lot of people who have done good on this season haven't really played that many orgs.
Jade is new to orgs as well. She's only played like 3.
Yeah, this was my third one also, I remember. So it was interesting how a lot of people who were like pretty new, like me, like this was my second Survivor ever. It was kind of interesting to see that we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Villain
I
Viper was my second.
thought it was your first for some
No,
reason.
it was my second.
Season 3 here was my third overall.
Yeah, I think we've only ever had like one or two like well-known players.
Courtney.
Villain Driver is where well-known players gets like where future well-known players get started.
We who's a well-known Courtney and who else?
Oh wait, yeah, Court Rose LaFleur, Snowy.
I didn't know they were all well-known.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those are the ones that come to mind. RC, I guess, to an extent. Bari. Okay, so a few. But I guess moving on. Something that Roman wanted, well, not something that Roman wanted to talk about, something that I invited Roman on the podcast to talk about, is a little bit of criticism that we received, which we're always open to listening to, of course, in how we handled the awards this season. Not J-Ro, okay. So the basic rundown is that Jade got too many awards, is what some people are saying, and that it is disrespectful and unfair to some of the other players that they were not recognized for their games. So I will just open the floor to let you guys talk about that and your opinions.
I feel like reunions and awards are meant to bring attention to like players from the entire season, and I'm not against Jade or anything. Like I really respected her game and everything, but it felt like the reunion was like really focused on Jade. Like even when you announced her as your favorite, you were saying that you would DM her in privately, saying that you like she was your favorite and stuff.
Cool.
And I think she played great.
Wait, I do want to clarify. That's not what I meant. Whenever I said that, I was talking about a little girl from the elementary school that I worked with. I said that too. That's what I meant.
What?
What?
A few of us thought that's what you meant.
No, I meant that no. Yeah, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. I meant that I pulled a little girl at the elementary school I worked at aside and told her that she was my favorite. And I was like trying to make a joke. My bad.
Okay, I was very lost. But yeah, I felt the same. I felt like the moment Jade won Final Four immunity, it felt like this was like Jade's victory lap, and I was just kind of there. Like going to Final Tribal Council and the reunion, it just felt like, hi, I'm Tara. I'm here too. And I don't know. I think Jade won. Jade played great. Jade deserved to win. I love you, Jade, if you're here. And I just felt like, I don't know, she already won. I don't think she needed like 6 or 7 awards. And I know you do it based on like who deserves it and all. And I think Jade played great and she deserves awards and all. I just think it gets excessive to a point where if there were other people I think should have gotten some respect for how well they did.
Yeah. I just want to say that reunions change how people feel about the game, and like people should like leave the game feeling good about how they did. And I feel like giving 6 awards to the winner won't really like give attention to everyone. Like yeah, I mean it was just like trying to acknowledge everyone. Like Jade wasn't the only one playing a good game, and it like even though if you guys felt like she fit all the like awards, it was still like I don't know, a little demeaning, I guess.
So, yeah, well, it's fair. I mean, so the main thing, usually the winner does not receive player of the season unless they are like especially good. I mean, Jade certainly did a good job, but I think that was maybe a source of controversy a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Jade played great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think she was like far and above way better than all of us that none of us deserved player of the season over her.
Okay, did
I was fully convinced Roman was winning player of the season. Like I thought for sure going into awards like Roman's winning player of the season, Nay's winning hero of the season, and I felt like I might win.
that was an upset. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they didn't win Hero of the Season.
I'm kind of confused why Jade also won villain because I feel like a lot of her actions were justified and that no one really held ill regard against her.
To the specs, she did seem a little villainous because she would like kind of like she'd go off at people. And we didn't.
Yeah,
The only
to
other
me,
I was assuming,
that was like final 10, you
that's
know?
true.
And I felt like
yeah,
she played a really loyal game, honestly. She like to Mally and other people. And I feel like I don't know, to me she played kind of heroic. I thought I was gonna be the villain.
I can see that.
yeah. I
And
thought it was gonna be
yeah.
Tara or like Mally because like Mally attacking me and Iris, and then Tara just didn't have loyalty.
Yeah, I felt like yeah,
Go ahead.
I felt like if anyone had like villainous gameplay, it would more be me, just because I feel like Jade made it such a big thing that she wanted to take like her allies and the people she were loyal to the end. And like she would
Yeah,
always tell me in DMs like when we were near the end, she was like, I will never vote you, I will never vote Mally. I just couldn't do it for like my conscience. So I was really surprised when I saw her as the villain, just because that didn't seem very villainous to me.
yeah. And then even though me and Jade had a rivalry, we were also like really respectful to each other in our chats and stuff. And like I feel like me and Jade were almost friends, like towards the end especially.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I do
think-
want to clarify that we don't like to reward villains. We don't like to reward mean behavior with a
Right.
villain of the season award, which is why Shoddy didn't win villain of the season in his season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
Shoddy
don't-
didn't even make it far enough. Like I made it farther than he did. Like
Well, I don't think that placement determines awards.
last year, Wims did win it, so that's true.
But like a lot of orgs, not a lot, but some orgs will like give a toxic person villain of the season, and I'm like, that's not a villain, like that's just a bad person.
Yeah, we.
You know.
Agree.
The logic is we give it to like. I mean, I didn't give it, but the logic is like you want to give it to someone who's does it out of someone who's a good sport. You don't want to give it to someone who's actually mean, but like someone who's a little cutthroat in the game or something. But I think
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just didn't view Jade as a cutthroat villainous type of player. I didn't think she was mean, of course, but I mean, I guess the Jaff vote kinda, but she did that because she thought Jaff was like against her.
yeah,
So I don't know. I just didn't view her gameplay as villainous.
I think it was just like she could be a little confrontational at times, and I think she seemed
I
a little
think that
clicky.
was at the final.
To me, she seemed a little bit clicky, like, oh, I'm gonna bring my allies to the end, but like seemed like people were just kind of simping, honestly. Like it seemed like she just had minions. So I think that's kind of where the perception came from a little bit.
I mean, there's also just a little bit of a difference between like in the game perspective and spectator perspective, where like I think a lot of the spectators were seeing Jade as a big villain, even if she wasn't necessarily seen that way in the game. Though, like if we're talking about just reading the awards, I tend to be on the side of not giving player of the season to a finalist because like the finalists are already recognized as having played a great game to have gotten to the end typically, or are not in contention at all for player of the season. So I tend to prefer seeing player of the season at least go to a non-finalist. But everyone has their own opinion on that.
And I will say about that, and I'm not saying that it can't change, I'm just saying in the history of Villain Viber, we have always considered winner in the running for player of the season. So it's just something that we've done.
Have any previous player of the seasons been finalists? I'm trying to remember who the previous player of the seasons are right now.
Rose.
Rose got second.
Okay, so Rose was player of the season for season 4?
Yeah.
And then it was Marcus for season 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then who was season 2?
Paw, who got 4th.
And season 1?
High, who got 5th.
Okay, yeah. So it's often someone who's, right there in the end game, whether or not they end up making the end or not. But it might be a finalist, it might not. Yeah, and so Jade then is the first winner to get Player of the Season.
Right. Which is why I think it sparked some controversy.
Yeah,
I don't want you to think that, like, I don't hear where you're coming from. Like, I can absolutely understand why it's upsetting. My perspective is just, like, I don't think that awards are a reflection of how well you did in the game. I think they just say if you played a certain type of game.
Yeah, I do think that's true, and I mean, I get Jade getting Player of the Season and stuff, but even Jade was surprised by getting villain. She was like, "What the heck? I'm the villain."
See, I get that. I get that. And I mean, I'll tell you straight up, the people who were considered for villain were, you're going to say that this is crazy too, but were Jade, Roman, and Mally. Those were the people who were considered by the hosting team to get it. And
Why?
I was the one who suggested Jade. Lex suggested Mally, and Boofus suggested Roman. I suggested Jade because I've been saying all season long that she's a villain. She just has this Ice Queen vibe about her, especially pre-merge. The way she spoke in her comms was like, kind of like, fuck all these young people. Like, I don't fit in with them. They're all fucking idiots. Like, she didn't speak like that, but it's like the vibe that she gave off was like, I'm better than all of them, and I'm going to use them as pawns in my little game. And then whenever she met Mally, she softened up. And so it was really kind of this interesting dynamic where it's like this Ice Queen who has a soft spot for one person. So I can see where it seems like she's playing a heroic game, but really it's like this evil villain who has, like, this is going to sound fucked up, but this evil villain who has a pet. You know
Oh
what
my
I'm saying?
god.
I believe we have an episode title for that
I know,
called
I was
Like a
going to say,
Little
Roman
Guard
said
Dog.
the same thing. Roman said the
I
same
think,
thing.
I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
I think every single one of us in the game viewed Mally in that way. Not to be rude, love you, Mally. I I don't know. I didn't know if I got that vibe from Jade. I think Jade seemed like really, I don't know, almost genuine to me towards the end. She really seemed like she like cared. But then again, it's like, was Jade really this hero, or was she just taking me and Mally to the end so she could say she was loyal? Like if I was Jade, I would want to take me and Mally to the end because then you can say, "Oh my God, I was the most loyal player ever. I took my two allies, Tara and Mally." When in reality, she was gonna beat us all along, and that's like, why not take people you can beat and say you were loyal about, you know?
Yeah.
Well, something else I think she did that was a little villainous is she knew you wanted fire, and she said, I don't care.
Well, yeah, I knew she didn't want me to make fire, so I knew Mira Ari had to win that Final Four immunity, so I could go to fire. But I mean, I don't blame her for that because it's like if someone came up to me when I was about to win and like, let's make fire, I would be like, no, go away. I do think Jade was overall pretty nice to me. However, there were some times where I really don't think she viewed me intellectually at a same level as her. It felt like a lot of times she was explaining down to
There you
me,
go.
like kind of, you know, like a lot of times she was like, okay, I have a new plan. I'm gonna tell Tara it, and I'm gonna like break it down into points. Like with the Iris thing, I came to her about the Iris thing, and she like broke down, hey, I have this plan about Iris. Here's why you should do it. And I'm like, I already told you that, you know? And I think towards the end, I was telling her like, I feel a bit down because I feel like you're gonna win, but I'll try and put up like a good fight. And she was like, just speak your heart, speak your truth, Tara. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. There you go. See? You see it.
Like, what I will say is a lot of our opinions based on who villain of the season could be, I think came from pre-Iris situation, because whenever the Iris situation happened, I think it kind of shook everyone a bit and made everyone be like, okay, I think we all want to be really nice to each other because this is just a game. And obviously, one person took it a little bit too far, and none of us want to have a break like that and get to that point. So, no one really played villainously after the Iris situation, in my opinion. Not really.
Also, yeah. I didn't even make many villainous moves just because I didn't even have the option to, except for Final 7, I know. So I do get it. But I do think like my mindset and my playstyle is kind of villainous.
Yeah.
As a villain for what I did to Wims.
Poor
Yeah,
Wim.
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. You had it out for Wims. You did have it out for Wims.
No, like the part. I don't know if you read my confessionals, Tara, but we told Wims that my idol was a curse from Jade.
Ooh.
That I think is why Boofus wanted you to be villain of the season for
Goofy.
that moment.
I think my only true villain moment of the season was Final Tribal Council.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read Final Tribal Council.
Well,
Oh.
I think you should because me and Jade were talking and it was a little rough. Like when we were trying to get Jaff to vote for us, I was like, Jaff, who do you think you should vote? The person who made it to the end without idols or the person who needed advantages and mediocre gameplay? And we
Ooh.
started fighting.
That's a good one.
Oh, it
Didn't you help Jade get some of her advantages?
Yes, I gave her my coin.
Ooh, you even
So,
helped
you know what?
Jade? I didn't know that.
Yes. Okay,
Coach
here's the
Tara.
thing. I didn't care about idols. I didn't care about advantages. I didn't want to use them. I didn't want them near me.
Mm.
I wanted to get rid of my coins as fast as I could. I even stopped playing like the puzzles because I was like, I don't care. I don't want these.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a mistake
Which-
too? Do you think you
yeah.
should have maybe gotten them for yourself?
I mean, I do think I should have cared more about them. For me, it's just like I am horrible at managing advantages. I don't like thinking about them. And I think my play style, I knew like I would probably do better if I don't have advantages and stuff. But I do kind of wish I got some just because there were so many this season and they ended up being really important. I just didn't care.
That actually is an interesting question. Why do you think having idols and advantages like runs contradictory to the playstyle that you wanted to have? Like, how do you think they would affect your playstyle in a negative way?
For me at least, because of the way you get idols in this season, anyone who has an idol or anything like that, because it needed so many coins, that's gonna get out eventually, you know? Everyone eventually knew about Jade, everyone eventually knew about Jaff's idol. Because you need like 2 or 3 people to give you coins, or in Jade's case, like 10 people to give you coins, you know? And eventually that's gonna leak somehow. And I really wanted to just kind of fall to the back and not really I wanted to be like socially connected with everyone, and I wanted to be kind of the forgettable person in the middle that still was well connected. And I think if I did have an idol, that would make me more of a target.
So what about you, Roman? Because you did play with an idol. So what's your approach to it?
I only got through to get my idol, and then my idol was like so shitty compared to the other two. Like I literally had to tell people about my idol in order to activate it and get votes on it, and then I only got 5. And
Yeah.
then I literally I wasted it. Like I played it on myself when I should have played it on Toaster. I don't really think that I needed it because I did the same thing that I would have done even if I didn't have it. And I think that it only really helped me bond with Nay and Toaster. Iris kind of knew about everyone's, I think, except for the half idol, the other half idol. No one knew about the half idol until Rocks.
I think okay. I was quite loud about when I didn't love twists or advantages. And one of them I didn't feel like I talked a lot about not liking was Jade and the half idol, the double idol. I think, I don't know, the fact that it blocks 5 votes it's basically just giving her 2 idols at that point. It literally just
Yeah.
is. Because, I mean, Merge was at 10, you know? That's blocking half of the votes, and when you get down to, like, final 6, final 7, or even final 8, it's like, you're still blocking a majority of votes with 5. Like, you would need an overwhelming majority, like a unanimous vote against Jade to get her out with one of those idols, because it did vote 5, you know? So it felt like, okay, it would have been cooler if it did, like, it blocked half your votes you got or whatever. It just felt like it wasn't balanced enough to be split into 2. It was basically just 2 idols.
Yeah, I think there might be a different number smaller than 5 that would have worked better for a half idol like that. Like, I don't necessarily think that 5 was like some magic number, you know, written on stone tablets that like it must be exactly this many. And I think that is some rebalancing we could look into if that were a twist that were to be reappearing in any future seasons. Like, how many votes should the partial idols block if they are separated, whether we want it to be a fixed number or whether it's half of the votes received. Like, that was definitely an advantage that sparked some controversy even within the hosting team when we were planning it out and figuring it out. And I do see quite reasonably the criticism that ended up being a bit on the overtuned side.
Yeah, because it's like you have Roman getting an idol where she needs to go tell people, and then you get Jade getting just 2 idols.
I just want to say I take full responsibility for fucking that one up. I'll full transparency say expose the hosting team's business, which I know that the hosting team is going to be like, Gabriel, shut the fuck up. But apparently I don't remember us talking about this idol, but apparently it was only supposed to block half the votes. I didn't remember that being discussed.
Honestly,
So whenever I sent the advantage, for some reason, this is neurodivergency at its finest. Half in my brain meant 5.
yeah.
So
like,
I
honestly-
said, so that's where 5 came from.
Oh, God.
I was like, okay, 5, half is 5. So I said 5, and that's how it became 5. So it's my bad.
Yeah,
I take full responsibility, and I'm sorry.
So I will step in for just a second on this because I was giving the very host team politique answer, but since Gabriel has gone and given the executive host team full transparency answer, I will say that a fixed number was one of the things we discussed when we were originally discussing it, and I'm guessing that's where the 5 came into your brain from. But we had decided at some point that we wanted it to be half of them. Because we weren't sure what the right fixed number was, and we had discussed back and forth between the 2 ideas for how we wanted the split portion to work. So that didn't come from nowhere.
Also, I kind of figured that's what happened because I remember Jade, me, and Regina being in an alliance, and then the rules to her idol just changed, and we were like, "What the heck?" But yeah, I do think half would have been so much better especially because Merge was at 10, you know? 5 is just it's just an idol at that point.
Okay, I will say this. I was watching the Final 10 Tribal, and, love the hosts. We love everybody, but they kept reading the votes wrong and, reading them out of order. It's like, it was so frustrating to watch. You're supposed to read
In our
who goes
defense-
home last. You're supposed to count the votes correctly. I was like, I was pulling my hair out. I was so annoyed.
We had a little mishap so again, just to peel back the curtain a little bit and show the person operating the wizard puppet. The hosting team has a little channel where we store the parchments for the current tribal when we're reading them, and because 1 or 2 of the parchments at Final 10 had not been added to that channel, we pulled one of the votes from the previous tribal by mistake because we were looking for the right number of votes. And so because 1 or 2 had not been added to our parchments channel, we pulled one from a previous tribal by mistake and then had to sort it out.
Oh, goodness.
And that is why you always ping the motherfucking hosts with your vote.
Totally, guys. Go do that. Yeah.
That's why.
I did.
I am not going to comment on whether either of our 2 interview guests regularly pinged hosts with their votes.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the first time I pinged the host with my votes was Final Four. Because other than that, I just forgot about it.
GG.
Maybe we should live up to our super strict reputation
I should have been struck,
and start striking.
Uh-oh.
honestly. Uh-oh. But yeah, I think, okay, the double tribals were interesting. I think in the preseason speed, I really liked the double tribal. I thought it was put in a good spot because like we kind of got to know each other, and I think it was nice for the first like merge vote here. I just thought for the second round, it was like what the hell is happening?
Okay, I have a question.
Are you going to comment on it in the regular season?
Yeah. Like no, I meant like the second vote where it was like we just got done. It's episode 2. Let's go, guys. And then it's like, okay, now you're all together and vote 2 people out.
Okay.
It also just felt like, I don't know, it felt like because it was happening when the tribes were uneven and we also didn't know anyone over there, it was like inevitably someone was just randomly going to be picked and voted out. And had Mino not been so inactive, the young tribe probably would have just come together and voted out 2 of them. And I still don't even know why we voted out Regan. I just like logged on and heard that, and I was like, okay, bye.
It's because Regina said that Regan was social.
Yeah, I remember she DM'd me saying their names are too similar, so she wanted. I'm serious.
So mad
like,
after that tribal.
I felt like it was kind of unfair, and I think it would have been better placed if we just had the joint in like the first merge episode, you know? Just because it was so early, we didn't know each other. And since it was after a vote, it was like one tribe is gonna have more people, and they could have just taken out 2 old people, and they would have had no idea what to do about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't mean to.
We also went into,
Sorry, go ahead, Roman. Go ahead.
we also swapped like immediately after that, and I was like, oh my god.
I was tired.
Yeah.
I don't mean to like switch gears, but I've been meaning to ask this question all night. One of the most there were a lot of like really endearing relationships and awesome duos this season, but one of my favorites, because I had 2 of my favorite people, were Roman and Toaster, because it came out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell? But well, I guess not nowhere. I understand where it came from. But just Roman, can you like talk on that friendship that you guys had and like explain it a little bit? Just like talk about it.
It was Toaster's first org, so everyone was like complaining that Toaster was like being really dry and stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna try and talk to Toaster and like see if I can get a connection going. And then we ended up getting connection. Like Toaster like was asking everyone if they dip chicken in ice cream, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god. And then like we just kept talking about food and stuff, and then people were saying like we had kind of matching pictures and stuff. And Toaster was just really fun to talk to, and like it was like a break from the game. Like with Iris, we were really just strategic, and then with Toaster, it was just like shits and giggles. And then during the first vote, Toaster ended up asking me for advice in the game going forward, if he was voted out. And like I felt like that was like the moment that I kind of took Toaster under my wing. Like I kind of felt like Toaster really trusted me, and I just felt it was like the first time I've had an org experience like that, and I just loved Toaster. I thought he was so wholesome.
Aw.
I
never knew him.
I want to like take this moment to recognize Toaster, and one of my favorite moments in this entire game was when Toaster was trying to talk to Mally and get a connection formed. And he sent him a video of a little girl getting some sort of liquid poured in her eyeballs that burned.
What?
and and her,
What?
and her
Hello?
and her going, "Help, it burns," which Toaster found to be hilarious. And Mally in his confessionals going, "What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Why is he sending me a video of a child getting hurt?" And Toaster being like, "Why does Mally not like me? I don't understand. I sent him a hilarious video."
I would like
And
that. I would find that funny.
Mally
I
hated him for the entire game because of that one
I would find that
interaction.
funny.
And that was like my
yeah.
single most favorite moment in the entire game. And I
Me
knew
and
from that
Toaster-
moment on that I loved Toaster because I saw that video years ago and thought it was hilarious.
What video is this?
I'll find it.
Yeah, we need the video.
Yeah, we need the
An
video.
old
We need it.
girl eyeball burn.
I'm sure you can find it, and I'm sure you can find it in she goes like, "My eyes, it burns." Like, it's hilarious. But Mally was like, "Is that fucking bleach?" Oh my god, it was
Yeah, it's so weird to me that me and Mally like made it to Final Travel together and had like 2 messages.
Oh, okay. So that's another relationship that we can talk about. I don't even know how long we've been talking. We can
Oh,
wrap it up.
me and Mally was a journey.
Stop talking. But yeah, you and Mally fucking hated each other for some reason that I
I
still don't know why.
I literally okay, do you wanna know what happened?
Yeah.
So, it was the double tribal, and I was like, "Yo, we just need to pick a name."
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's why.
I was so lost at why the young people were, like, sucking so bad, because I was like, "Guys, we have a majority, let's just vote out 2 of the old people," you know? I was like, "Let's just get this over with." But no one would say anything, so I looked, I was like, "Who has DM'd me so far?" And I just clicked on Mally, and he was like, "Oh, he said he likes me and wants to work with me." I guess I could tell them he's trying to be strategic. So I was like, "Oh, Mally's trying to be strategic, let's get him out." It was completely random, and then it didn't even work out, and eventually we just swapped to Regan, and I was like, "Okay, sure." So then after that, Mally thought I was after him, and I was able to kinda suss out in that first, like, swap tribe how close Jade and Mally were, just because it was kinda suspicious, and I clicked in my brain that he knew I was after him. So we were, like, so awkward talking to each other. Like, our DMs are so funny to look at because it's me going, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good." And he's like, "That's great." And then we won't talk for, like, another 2 days. It was so weird. But then we started working together because we were both connected to Jade, and Jade was, like, this bridge between us, even though the entire time we were working together, not once did we DM each other. Like, we were in these alliances, and he was like, "Tara, I wanna go to Final 3 with you," but we still would never DM each other. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, and then eventually I stopped being after him because I knew he wasn't after me, and I also didn't view him as a threat. But like, it was so weird. It was like the weirdest relation I've ever had with someone in an org where it's like we hated each other and then we worked together, but we still never talked.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you are to 2 questions. One question is, who do you want to be friends with? Or
I was just about to ask that.
okay,
Oh my
who do you
god,
want to
same
be?
mind.
Sorry, who do you want to be friends with after the game? Like now that the game is concluded, who is still gonna be your friend?
That's kinda I don't know.
Not Tara saying that
Well,
she has no friends.
That's fine. That's like me.
literally, no. My thing is, okay, I wanted to go into the season and I was like, I don't want any personal connections. I don't want to like any of these people. I want to come in, win, go home. And that didn't work out great. The thing is, like, I don't know. I felt like I didn't make any super close friends. Like, a lot of people here met people that they're gonna like talk to for a while later, you know? And I didn't want that. And going into the season, I didn't really want that. I wanted to win basically. But I mean, there are plenty of people I would be fine like being friends with, you know, like Roman, Nay, Ari, Regina, Jade, Mally even. Mally, if you're here, hit me up, Mally. So, I mean, I would talk to anyone, but there's no one where it's like as soon as the season ends, we were like DMing and being best friends.
What about you,
Tara said
Roman?
I boof, and that's the only friend I need in this server.
Who, me?
Honestly, let's speak on it.
What about you, Roman?
For me, there's a lot of people I want to keep talking to. Immediately after the season ended, Ragin DM'd me and asked me to be their backup loved one in case their boyfriend couldn't be their loved one. So I guess that's like an immediate thing.
Aw.
Cute.
And then I've been talking to Nay and Toaster, obviously. I was talking to Tara last night, I think.
Yeah, we were having our bestie convo.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I think I would talk to everyone. I'll reach out to Jade soon, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against talking to anyone. Like, obviously I will. Like, if anyone wants to talk to me, sure. It's just like I never had that like one person that I connected with, and I was like, we are gonna be best friends after this.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
I will.
sorry.
I mean, me and Uni and Jaff would watch like TV together during the whole season. We would like watch TV as like a group of three and just hang out.
Interesting. You.
I was gonna say, like,
Uh,
you know what would be hilarious? Like if Mally and Jade never speak again.
That would be funny.
It would just be really funny. But you know, sometimes you have that, like people who you just work really closely with in these games, and then that's like the only time you're meant to talk to each other, and that person has served their purpose, you know?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I hope Jade doesn't hate me. I love you, Jade.
Why would Jade hate you? She won.
I don't know. Oh, true. Yeah. I don't know. I think Final Tribal Council really kind of tore me and Jade apart because going into it, we're like, we're gonna respect each other. We were like the two best. We got this.
God.
And then
Didn't you tell
My-
her straight to her face that you were gonna destroy her game and rip it apart?
I never said that. I never said those words. I told her if I end up next to Final Tribal against you, I think what I said was if we are ever in Final Tribal Council and I'm sitting next to you, don't expect me to be nice to you. Don't expect me to respect your game because I'm gonna want to win. But I wasn't like I'm gonna rip you apart. I wasn't that mean.
You're right. I'm an
But
exaggerator.
I think Jade's confessional might have exaggerated your words
Yeah,
a little bit on
well,
that
might have
front
been
too.
exaggerating too.
me and Jade were like respectful of each other, and then it just got to the end, and I think I was just really mad. I think I had a lot of anger towards the end of the season because I was just mad. I was just really angry, and I think I kind of took out a bit of that anger like unjustly at Jade, but Jade didn't do anything wrong, so
Yeah. I have a additional question. I said I had two. Here's my second one. What moment was the most fun?
um
Not the silence.
Well, here's the thing. Someone asked me this. I think it was Roman asked me like, "What was the most fun
Yeah.
moment in Final Travel?" And I literally sat there and I was like making the merge. That
It's
was
fun.
fun. Yeah, so I mean, I guess making the merge was fun. I don't have one moment that like jumps out to me where I was like, "This was a great time."
Okay, well, that's good.
I think the most
guess-
fun for me was the second swap because I finally got to be reunited with Toaster
Aw.
and Nay. And then that was when I kind of felt comfortable in the game again after being on the other tribe.
Actually,
It's wholesome.
yeah. For me, not the one fun part. It was fun, but it's like I had a lot of fun with Ari and Regina, our group of three. That was like kind of fun.
All right.
Speaking of like the other people on your cast and the ways that they made the season more fun and things like that, not counting each other or Jade, who are 2 to 3 people from the cast that you think would be like great to see play again, whether it's a fans versus favorites or a second chances or an all stars, like without specifically zeroing into one or the other, like what 2 to 3 people from your cast, again, other than each other and our winner, do you think would be great to see play again?
For me, I would say if I were to pick 3, I think Nay for sure. I would love to see Nay again. Who else? I think Jaff might be fun to come back. And honestly, what about Jet? I want Jet back.
Oh yeah, so do I. I don't know if you
Say
read. I don't know if you
Nay
read
Ri-
Jet's
oh.
confessional, but it was quite the epic
Yes,
tale.
it was incredible. And I mean, if you're gonna have a second chance season, you should have Regan on it. If anyone deserves a
Yeah.
second chance, it's Regan.
Honestly, maybe.
So
Hero,
robbed.
don't be a hater.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's just I felt bad for Regan because I don't think like over half the people voting for Regan didn't even know why we were voting for Regan.
Why'd you do it?
Yeah.
Because we were like, okay, we all need to choose someone to vote for. We gotta vote one of the old people, and Regina was just like, let's vote Regan, and we were all like,
Damn,
okay.
Regina Potts, Regina Player of the Season.
Honestly,
Well,
Tara kind of said all of the other people that I was going to say, but I think David and Looking maybe. I've watched David play before, and then I only got to meet him for a little bit, and then I liked Looking.
Those are a lot of good picks to think about and to see, and maybe you will get to see some of them play again, or maybe you'll even be playing with some of them again. Only time will tell.
what about? I have a question. Who would you guys say would be like the all-star pick?
we
for this
can't
season?
disclose that.
Why
Well,
not?
because you're both would be them, so we can't disclose that. Probably
Well-
both of you. And then probably like Jade, and then probably like A or something.
I have to look at the cast. Hang
I
on.
would say most of the mergers actually were very good. Everyone was good. No one did a bad job. Well, Mino was grounded.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Mino, I love Mino.
Mino was
Mino
grounded, unfortunately.
Mino Pot.
Mino for second chance.
Yeah, no, Mino probably won't make it, but
Yeah. Like, any winner is automatically at least going to be in the conversation for All Stars if they want to be, and then like both of you would definitely be in that conversation as well. And yeah, I think Nay is the other one who would like almost definitely be in an All Stars conversation looking at this cast. And then if we're talking like second chances, fans versus favorites, like the names that are jumping out to me, yeah, Regan for a second chances because of that iconic exit and like definitely being one of the more robbed players on the season. Jet, Wims, and Toaster also jumping out as like second chances or fans versus favorites type of consideration that I would be immediately thinking of.
And Jaff.
And
And
Jaff.
Yeah, Jeff too. Mhm.
I want to say Regina maybe because of the way that she went out, but she was kind of a goat. So
I would love Regina on a fans versus faves, just because.
yeah,
I don't know.
not a second
feel like-
chances, but if she got voted into a fans versus faves, I'd be okay with it.
I think one thing I find interesting is a lot of times when people return, they kind of like to play more like the winner of the season. So I felt like if I came back for All Stars, which I think if I'm gonna come back for any season, it would be All Stars. I think I would play more of a Jade-esque game.
Oh, that's the old Sesternino theorem. People tend to play like the winner of their original season.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I was missing was kind of like, I don't know, the Jade-ness. I was not Jadey enough. I need to be more Jade-like.
So I guess that leads to my question, and we can start wrapping up soon because we've been here for almost an hour and a half. I mean, I could sit here all night, but I'm sure we all want to go. So Tara already answered this, is that she would want to come back for All Stars. So Roman, if you could come back for All Stars or fans versus faves, and I mean, you could come back for both if you wanted to, which would it be? And why?
I think I would go for All Stars, mostly because I like having the competition. I think that I would be good against the other players. I mean, I don't really give up, obviously, and I don't know. I just feel like I'd thrive more. I don't think I would change my gameplay. I think that I adjusted it pretty well compared to my other seasons. I think I would try to be more social, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I would love to come back for an All Stars, but I don't really want to come back for anything else.
Oh, you're
think-
you're
I
too
don't know.
good for anything else.
That's
Yeah, I'm too special.
Oh.
But no, it's just I think Fans versus Faves is too soon. And if I'm gonna come back for a season, I would want it to be All Stars. Just because I don't know, I think having the competition would be more fun. And also I think it would allow me to be more strategic because I feel like this season I didn't have a lot of opportunities to make big strategic moves. And I think I was purely just social. So I think I could play a better game with an all-star cast.
All right. So I guess this is now the point where if anyone in the audience would like to join the stage and say a few words, or you want to leave any questions in the spectator lounge. I keep calling it spectator lounge. We changed the name spectator chat.
Oh, big difference.
Dal says that they love Roman.
We all love
You have a
Roman.
fan.
I love the Roman fan club.
We all love Roman. Oh, look, Nimki is here.
I'm part of the Roman fan club.
Ariana.
Can't wait to see you in All Stars if you're in it.
Aw.
thanks, Dal.
Hi,
You got your fans.
hi Nimki.
Nimpki.
What the hell? J-Ro, boy, what the hell?
Isn't that
boy?
how it's pronounced? Nimp? He?
There's no
Hey.
P.
I think it's funnier if there is.
Where's the P?
I don't know. You have to
Wait,
say it
where's
with
the
like some forcefulness, you know?
All right. It doesn't look like there's any questions, and it doesn't look like anyone wants to come onto the stage. So we can probably wrap.
Oh.
All right. It's been great having both of you on here to talk about your perspectives on the season and on your games. So why don't you go ahead and each give us some closing thoughts before we sign off?
I would say this season was really fun. It was a great time. I'm proud of what I did. I'm happy. And I'm just glad I did it. It was good. And I'm excited for All Stars.
I think I would say that everyone needs to remember that when they're playing, that it's a game, and to notice everyone else's health as much as their own.
That was a lot nicer than mine.
I think that's a really important thing to remember, Roman.
yeah,
Thank you
very
for
much.
speaking on that.
Yeah, true. I think if or when I come back, I'm definitely gonna try and enjoy it a lot more. I'm gonna try to be less serious about it and have more fun.
Take the booth approach.
Yeah,
He won, so.
it works.
All right. Well, this has been a great season recap-ish and interviews definitely with two of the most successful and popular players on season 5 of Villain Viver, Tara and Roman. So, closing off for today, this has been the Villain Viver podcast. I'm Elk, one of your hosts, along with
Gabriel.
And J-Ro.
And stay tuned for the next upcoming off-season episode of the Villain Viver podcast. We might talk a little bit more about season 5. We might talk about other things. You never know what you're going to get, so make sure you're right here in the podcast lounge or following along on our YouTube channel shortly after the podcast, where you can find our links in the podcast channel of the Villain Viver Discord. So until next time, see you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.